What's good, my people? It is Tuesday night. The vibes are high. Run the rhythm, run the rhyme. It's on the Bywire time. You know what it is. Come on. I am Dan Lewis, and thanks to you, my good friends, we are here again. Yes, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the follow button. You know what it is, though. Come on. Don't forget to hit the share button, too. Come on. We need all your friends and your family to know about On the Bywire. We are live on the Bywire.news channel. And don't forget, check out Bywire.news as your number one website when you need to know what's going on in the world, because we have the news that you know you can trust. And if you like it a lot, hit that donate button too. Help us out. Become a part of the growing independent media world where we are challenging the lies and corruption of the mainstream media. Yesterday, we received the news that it is very likely all COVID restrictions will be lifted in just under 2 weeks' time. For many, this is an exciting time. 16 months of being locked in our houses for most of the time, small periods of time where we could go out but having to wear masks or not hug or not dance or see this many people and don't see that many people inside and outside. Standing queues longer than we cared to imagine were possibly possible. And in Britain, that's saying a lot. You know, we like queues, don't we? Come on. And, you know, personally, I can't wait to dance again. I can't wait to do shots on the dance floor and get down with the banging sounds. You know what I mean? I'm excited for it. And for others, you know, it will be the joy of hugging friends, not wearing masks, getting back into their workplaces, traveling around the country, hopefully abroad, and without having to get tested and isolate and all of this stuff. And there are also many people who will be scared of what is about to come. And there's many reasons behind that. Health reasons, mental health, you know, just the anxiety of going out and seeing people again. But the big issue staring us in the face is that the virus has not gone away. And it seems to be constantly mutating. Here in the UK, we have one of the fastest vaccine rollout projects with 79 million doses given out. And 33 million people have been fully vaccinated. But yet again, our government are jumping through the glass door before the locks have been opened, leaving smashed glass in their path. Nothing in this pandemic has gone to plan. And you can say the vaccine rollout has, but the government have done well to hide the amount of wasted vaccines from booking system issues, creating double bookings, and more recently, people turning up for their second jab, but not being on the system as having had their first jab. So there are the problems there. And there was the test and trace. That didn't work. There was the local lockdowns. They didn't work. The return to schools. They also didn't work. Buying masses of PPE. Well, we didn't get that, so that didn't work. And with only 50% of the UK fully vaccinated and new variants appearing, surely it's not the time to send people out into the world without some precautions. You know, because that's what they're saying. There's not going to be any precautions. The 7-day average of cases in other countries are tremendously lower than here in the UK. In China, it's 36. New Zealand, 2. Italy, 750. Think of the size difference here. In the USA, it's 13,000. In France, 2,300. In Germany, 500. But here in the UK, 25,000 and rising. Under a quarter of the world's population have received one dose of the vaccination. That's one dose. Only 1% of people in low-income countries, generally the global south, have received at least one dose. When the Prime Minister of the UK is telling us that people will die, surely his plan is not good enough. They say that they would follow the science. They're not even considering the statistics right now. It is absolutely acceptable to continue to ease the lockdown restrictions. With cases rising and still the massive unknown effects of long COVID, how can we guarantee the safety of our own lives? I want to be drinking rum and brucking off my waist down Ladbroke Grove at Carnival this year, just as much as many people want to enjoy many other things that we've given up over the last year. But I also want to do it many times over and over again for years and years to come. Can we really trust this same government that used the pandemic to make themselves and their friends richer and turned a blind eye to the people that died or gave up so much of their lives just to protect others? I wonder if we will see our elected members of parliament packed into the House of Commons for their last 2 days of sitting after the restrictions are removed before they go on their long summer break. You know, like they've been doing to our children in school. I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert. I'm a reporter. I take the facts, I report them, I question them. The mainstream media will continue to support the government's message. I'm encouraging you to question that message. If not for you, for the future of humanity. Now, speaking of humanity, what in the humanity is Priti Patel up to today? Not content with her police and courts bill attacking the voices of the oppressed, she is today going for the families fleeing war, currently in dinghies on the English Channel. Why? What? Who? Where? My friend Aalia Khan from the Freedom from Torture campaign is here with us to explain exactly what is going on and what you can do to help stop it. Aalia, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule, especially on a day like today. So you are one of the last millennials left with hope in your spirit, which I think is beautiful and amazing. You are also the press officer for Freedom from Torture, and you're just generally an all-round good person. I really am glad to have you on the show. But you know, no problem at all. Thank you for being here. Now, you know a lot about what's going on in Parliament today, and what Priti Patel's bill is about. But first of all, tell us a bit about Freedom from Torture. I keep nearly slipping up and getting the name wrong. I'm going to make sure I don't. But tell us more about the organization. You know, what do you guys do? What's it all about?
Sure. If you slip up on the name, I will correct you. So don't worry about that. So Freedom from Torture is a UK based charity, and it helps people who've fled torture for kind of political or social reasons from all over the world. We provide psychotherapy and welfare help to people, and and the UK asylum system plays a big part in the lives of our clients.
Fantastic. That's awesome. And so what connection do you have with what I got the other name wrong. Priti Patel. I just call her the smirking assassin. What is the smirking assassin up to today? And tell me more about, you know, your role in what she's doing.
Sure. So, Freedom from Torture is part of a coalition of about 250 refugee organizations who are pushing back against this government's plans. So this bill that was introduced into Parliament today, we call the anti-refugee bill. It is an anti-refugee bill. It is about 87 pages long. But the real kind of crux of this bill is that it focuses on criminalizing and denying protection to people who have made irregular journeys into the UK, who haven't been pre-approved by through a very specific system, the resettlement scheme. It's criminalizing desperate people who turn up to our borders in need of protection.
Right. So, like these people who are turning up at our borders, are they criminals? That's the first thing that I want to know, because you hear it so often. You see it in many of the newspapers. Can you still hear me? Okay, I seem to have frozen.
Yeah.
Brilliant. As long as you can hear me. There's so much criminalize. Sorry. There's so much bad stuff said about these people. You know, are they criminals? What are they fleeing? Where are they coming from?
So there are people coming from all over the world who are fleeing conflict, who are in need of protection, who are fleeing war, torture, trafficking, and this is, you know, that's the kind of general profile of people that this bill is going to affect. So there are people from all over the world. Who are in need of protection. Britain has a proud tradition of providing protection to people, and this bill essentially focuses on the method of arrival into the country rather than their actual needs, and that's not acceptable for the coalition together with refugees. We are pushing back on that very strongly, and we're urging the Home Secretary to reform our asylum system with compassion and fairness.
Yeah, definitely. Like, see, this is one of the things for me is like, when people are fleeing war or, you know, persecution, whatever it may be, like you would think that in Britain, where we're such a, you know, I was talking to you earlier about this, in Britain, where we're such a kind and caring nation, we take care of the world. And like right now, you know, so many people are doing work to try and get the vaccine, Britain to give the vaccine to other countries. What is the problem? What is the big problem here? Is it our laws? Is it the government? Is it these people? Is it us? What do you guys see as the problem?
So I think, firstly, I think this government, it has a very strong anti-immigration, anti-refugee narrative. And it is a great detraction from the multiple failures of this government, especially, you know, around COVID, as you mentioned at the start of the program. And it's just the oldest trick in the book, fomenting division between people. It wins votes, scapegoating a largely silent and vulnerable minority, a specific group of people. It works. And there is no refugee crisis. I think that cannot be said enough. There is no refugee crisis. The numbers, the data shows that, and, you know, asylum applications in this country are, you know, all-time low. Britain takes in a fraction of people seeking asylum compared to our European neighbours, definitely compared to France and Germany. So this anti-refugee bill is a very aggressive response to an imaginary crisis, and the data and the evidence supports that.
Yeah, like it's always, you know, I hate to bring up the B word, but since Brexit, there's been this kind of retraction of a lot of people from the country. Even people I know who have come from across Europe and other places, they've said that whether it's the kind of environment that's been created by the government or by the media even, that's not made them feel welcome, and also the fact that, you know, like, there's legal reasons that they're concerned about whether they can or can't stay here. And I think to myself, if so many people are leaving the country, why is it that the government are telling us that there's these thousands of people coming in on boats? Like, I remember seeing, what's that frog face guy's name? Nigel Farage. He was doing his boat watch on the coast of Dover, and he was turning up in hotels, like trying to hunt them down. Just up the road from where I am, we had people protesting in Southport, yeah, outside of a hotel because there's refuge. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what are these? If these people are wanting to come here, if people who are already here are leaving, and there's people who are fleeing war, are desperate to come here, why not let them? If it's so bad, so
Britain has both the capacity and resources to take in refugees, and a proud tradition of doing so. It is utterly shameful that people like Priti Patel and Nigel Farage, in their own different ways, are exploiting vulnerable people. I mean, the kind of profile of people that we help at Freedom from Torture are people who have escaped torture and persecution, made incredibly dangerous journeys to get to Britain, to get to a place of safety, and to then be hounded by the likes of Nigel Farage in a hostel is utterly shameful. And you know what? This government's policy is totally out of step with public opinion. Most people in this country want Britain to be a place of protection for refugees who are fleeing conflict, and the polling and the research shows that. And this government, this bill is totally out of step with public opinion.
Yeah, I would agree, because no matter where you live, in this country, or in the majority of places in this country, especially, you know, the places that I've lived. You know, you walk down the street, I think of places like, you know, Brick Lane was a big part of my childhood. We used to go there on a Sunday night, and you got the Jewish bagel shops at the bottom. You got the Bengali curry houses throughout, and then you've got all kinds of different people. Now you've got like the Polish food shops down there as well. There's such a mix and diverse of culture here where I live in Merseyside. You look back, it's the oldest Chinese community, one of the oldest Black communities in Britain, and we've got years and years, centuries of diverse cultures that have been a part of British history. And even in my own family history, I look to my mum. She came over here from Mauritius to help with the NHS. And it's just continuous that everyone's got a story where they know someone that's come from another place to excuse me, that's come to help be a part of British history, be a part of British society, and help make Britain the great place it should be, in my opinion.
I think it's so interesting that you say that, because, you know, the NHS is a great example of how refugees are part of the fabric of this country. So Britain just celebrated the 73rd anniversary of the NHS. And there are refugee health workers in hospitals across Britain who have not paused in their effort to save lives during this pandemic. They are giving back to society. It benefits everyone. British-born health workers and refugee health workers have stood shoulder to shoulder to save lives, and it's something to be celebrated. And very sadly, these values are under threat because of this anti-refugee bill, which is the result of is a culmination of a lot kind of years of hostility towards refugees and immigrants, and this sort of anti-refugee sentiment that is being fostered by this government in particular.
So what we're saying here is that this bill by Priti Patel is anti-British, and Priti Patel, the one who talks about, you know, British pride and all of that, is actually ruining British culture here, is going against the British way, in my opinion, I would say. Would you agree with that? It's very un-British. I agree.
To deny refugees is very un-British.
Yeah, I would say, as a British person myself, I definitely agree with you on that one, 100%. So, you know, you guys are obviously doing a lot of work around the bill and stuff. But what's the big way? Obviously, we like to encourage people watching the show to take action and do things about things they're unhappy with. What's the steps that people can take to get involved, be a part of fighting this bill? Do they need to write to their MPs? Do they need to sign petitions? Do they need to blow up buildings? You know, like, I've got a load of. Okay, I've got spray paint if you want it. I've got spray paint if you want it. Like, what do you want us to do?
So the coalition, together with refugees, our message is simple. No matter what we look like or where we come from, everybody deserves to feel safe. And this government needs to stop playing politics with people's lives. It needs to deliver the compassionate and fair asylum system that it promised. Particularly after the Windrush scandal. It's about almost coming up to a year now when Priti Patel promised us a more compassionate approach to asylum and apologized to Windrush victims. And we want that promise. We want her to deliver on that promise. So it would be great if people could get involved, if people could sign. We've got a petition that's going around at the moment. We want people to write to their MPs. This bill must be scrapped. And I think there's there's just another point that I want to make before we finish. This anti-refugee bill is not going to stop people making dangerous journeys. Those people that you see coming on boats in refrigerated lorries are doing so because they are desperate. No one leaves their homes, their families, their communities if they have other options. No one does that. to make a dangerous journey halfway across the world. And, you know, we work with torture survivors who will tell you this, who will tell you that people make those journeys because they are fresh out of options. And this bill will do nothing to stop that. So that's my call is, Priti Patel, stop playing politics with people's lives, please.
Pretty, please, Priti. There was no pun in that. I didn't listen to that before I said it. I'd hate to do that to someone who's such a nice person. Anyway, I genuinely think, like, you know, one day, like, you know, most people, like, when they do bad things, one day they kind of sit there and they go, oh, that was really bad, and they kind of repent for what they've done, or they feel bad. At least I genuinely think Priti will go to her grave, whenever that may be, in 500 years, because she's immortal. But she will go to her grave and be happy with everything she's done. She's that horrible a person, honestly. I know, working for a charity, you couldn't comment too much on that, so less said about that the better. But listen, Aalia, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. And
thank
definitely,
you so much for having me.
No problem. Anytime you've got any more campaigns or anything coming up, give us a shout. We'll always retweet and we'll get you on the show. We'd love to hear more. You have a lovely evening. I hope you catch the rest of the game, and I'll hope to speak to you soon. Okay.
Awesome. Thanks. Bye.
Right, bye. Thanks, Aalia. There you have it. There you go, guys. Get to know, it is the Freedom from Torture campaign. You'll excuse me. I'm just moving my studio around because my camera did decide to break. I'm not like GB News. I don't have millions of pounds donated to me from a company in Dubai who also hedge bets against British companies to fail. This is on the Bywire. It is Bywire News. If you would like to support and help me get a better camera and help me fix up my studio so that I don't have to have a black cloth behind me hanging off of a clothes rail. No, I'm joking. It's not a clothes rail. It is. But if you would like to help support what we do, then please do head on over to bywire.news and hit that donate button. Help us do more of what we do and give you more of the news you know you can trust. Now, a quick roundup of today's independent media news. Oh my gosh, there's been a lot going on this week, so it's hard to try and round everything up, but straight in the door and shots fired at that cock Matt. I mean, what? That cock Matt? Hancock Matt? Matt Hancock? Either way, Martin Williams, Jenna Corduroy, Peter Giegergen, and Jack Taylor from Open Democracy are baiting up Matt for another case of transparency failure. Yeah, could you believe it? That a lack of transparency from Matt Hancock. Oh my days, it's unbelievable. Before the pandemic hit, there was a meeting between the disgraced former health secretary and a firm that has donated £1 million. Yes, I said £1 million to the Conservative Party. The company Bridgemere Group holds a significant stake in a private health firm that was later awarded a multi-million pound COVID contract. Remember I was saying about the money during COVID? The Department of Health has been accused of very serious transparency failures after Open Democracy learned that another healthcare investor was also present at the same meeting, but not named in official records. Who else was there? Was someone else that was? Oh, it was that cock Matt. He was using post-it notes to not get found out for his tomfoolery. It's no surprise, but Open Democracy have all the info that you won't get anywhere else. So head on over and check out their article. Now over to Declassified, where yes, there's more secrecy. Oh my days. They have revealed that UK troops are secretly operating in Yemen. Yes, up to 30 troops are training Saudi forces in the middle of one of the world's worst humanitarian catastrophes. More lies, more secrecy. Nasser Shaker, Phil Miller, and Mark Curtis. Mark's just a regular on the show at the moment. We should get him on. Have been looking into what they are doing, where, and exactly why. Given senior officials from the US and UK have denied their presence in Yemen, and senior Yemeni officials have been calling for them to leave with immediate effect, this is cause for massive concern, especially given the claims of Saudi forces torturing Yemenis with the backing of British troops. Now, back over to the UK with Byline Times. We're looking at schools. Yeah, boy. Kimmy Chadha is looking at the worries of teachers in our schools. It's the end of the bubbles. My daughter is very happy about this, while also very conscious that there are big changes in the very near future. So even, the children are concerned on this one. A lot of local media organizations have covered the closure of schools, while local authorities have tried to keep it undercover. And the education secretary, well, might as well be on holiday, because if I wasn't in this job, I wouldn't know who there is. It is Gavin Williamson, in case you're not sure as well. Now, Kimmy has taken a long look at the data, the science, and the facts around what is going on in schools, speaking to teachers, learning about the real impact on our children's education, and really understanding what's going on, putting it into the article and explaining what this means for the school year that so many are dreading at the beginning of September. Head on over to Byline Times to learn some more about this. Now, the next one isn't an article, but it is a great piece of independent media from our independent friends at the Bristol Cable, who have released their latest podcast on Bristol's history. I absolutely love this. I think it is fantastic. This episode covers healthcare in Bristol before the NHS. Tom Brothwell is a great narrator, and previous episodes cover the Blitz in Bristol, state surveillance in Bristol, and so much more. It's honestly looking at the slave trade and how things have changed. I've added it to my favorites, and I definitely recommend that you do as well. I want to take this moment to say a big thank you to all of our independent media partners who keep supplying us with fantastic articles that we're able to give to you. And if you do watch the show, please do consider heading over to their websites as well. And if you're able to donate, or at least follow them on, they're on all the platforms. All of them are, honestly. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Some of them are even on TikTok. If you're on TikTok, check me out too. Dano. Hey, come on. I don't do the dances, okay? I don't do the dances. It's not going to happen. You're not going to get me dancing. Anyway, listen, people. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of On the Bywire. Please do check out Freedom from Torture's website. We have put it in the comments. Check out the link on there and sign the petition. Let Priti Patel know that refugees, migrants, and basically everyone is welcome here. This is On the Bywire. I'm Dan Lewis. Hit like, hit share, hit subscribe. Dano. We've got the news you can trust. I will see you guys tomorrow night at 9 p.m. when we have Amy Hall from New Internationalist joining us. Peace and love, my people.